This is Brandon with RPG Overviews, and today I'm looking at Nest of Snakes, a level 3 adventure by Michael Curtis for Weird Frontiers role-playing game. It's also compatible with DCCRPG. I will be spoiling it, so don't watch it if you may play it. It'll be available down in the description, PDF and print, if you want to click down there and check it out, if you like what you see. So I think this is one of the strongest adventures for Weird Frontiers, mainly because I'm a big fan of the location of where it's set. So this adventure is set within the swamps of Louisiana. So yes, we're getting away from the west. We're heading down south to the bayou, and that's one thing I want to say about this adventure, almost more than anything else, is that the feel of this adventure is its strongest positive, I would say. It's got a great map, as you can see here. And you can read here more as I talk about this kind of feeling that this adventure, what you should, if you're going to run it, what you should try to do in this adventure. So, for some people it may be corny, it may be dumb, but I say go ahead and go with it. So, let's say your friends are coming over, you're going to run Nest of Snakes for them. You know, have some jazz music playing. Maybe if y'all eat dinner before, maybe make something that's Creole or Cajun food. And just kind of get in the mood of the bayou, Louisiana, French Quarter. You know, this adventure brings up stuff to me like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, David Fincher's Seven, True Detective, the first season. It just has that kind of, you know, you're in a plantation house. You're in Louisiana. It's a swamp. There's bugs. There's water. There's creepers, Spanish moss. This old dilapidated house of this family of French freaks, pretty much, and it's a plantation house, so it's big. It's got weird floors, the way they creak and move, and some of it's flooded. They've got a lot of old furniture in there. They've been here forever, and they're just decayed away, along with their occult practices, their isolation, and it has transformed them into a clan of Rougarou, a creature that shares traits with both werewolves and vampires. The family estate harbors both terrors and treasures for the party brave and dedicated enough to survive this metaphorical serpent's nest. So yes, you're going to have snakes, gators, you're going to have all sorts of, you know, bugs and stuff. Maybe getting there is going to be a real endurance survival test just to be able to get there, endure the heat of the bayou. So yeah, back to the adventure itself here. So what I really enjoy is the fact that it doesn't have a whole bunch of just like you're being attacked by a bunch of people. There's a shootout, a bunch of guns and stuff for Weird Frontiers. It does set itself up very well for DCCRPG, but it definitely is Weird Frontiers feeling, because you're talking about Louisiana. You're talking about that bayou, the Creole, Cajun, these French people that came over. They were rich landowners, you know, wealth, prestige. They escaped pre-revolutionary France, and they settled down in they're called the Leroux family, and they settled down in Louisiana. They have this huge plantation. They have a bunch of status in the city, but there are also rumors of their sinful behavior, and they want to keep their practices away from prying eyes. And so they have their plantation named Tall Shadows. And it's set about the business of sugarcane and cotton production. So they have slaves, and they brought in a lot more slaves than the other plantations of the same size. And there starts to be some whispers and some gossip about the Leroux family and Tall Shadows, the plantation. And so in 1831, the Great Barbados Hurricane laid waste to the Gulf Coast, decimated Tall Shadows, the plantation. It damaged its outbuildings, their fields, and many of their slaves escaped from the plantation, and they took with them their horror stories of the monstrosities that visited them at night by the Leroux, who drink the blood and eat the flesh of their servants. And so they've become Rougarous, shapeshifters, and blood drinkers who practice witchcraft and bargain with the rulers of hell. So they have not been seen since the storm, and it's been 4 decades. Tall Shadows has been left to rot and is slowly being reclaimed by Snakewater Bayou. And so now rumors of a forgotten fortune reach the ears of adventurers and treasure hunters along the western frontier, and the fate of the Leroux clan is about to be revealed. So you've got the start of the adventure here, and that's, to me, that's just a great. It's just something exactly what I want to do. Is just, you can feel that location just in the descriptions that are written here, and whenever you run this, just really try to. I would just really describe everything as much as I can when it comes to the rot of the plantation and the vegetation that is seeping through everywhere, the water, the smells. I mean, really get that kind of David Fincher grittiness, like in the movie Seven, just to try to, or Texas Chainsaw Massacre, like I said, just to try to really let your players know that this place is just a fallen down, decayed, once great building that was, of course, used for terrible deeds. And so it's going to have here, started the adventure, it's going to have a cool thing that he starts off with, where you kind of like the adventurers, your Weird Frontiers characters, they discover a collection of papers consisting of pages torn from journals, written letters, and newspaper clippings. Maybe they were found amongst an outlaw, a satchel overlooked in a wake of a deadly raid. Maybe it was worn at a poker table where the stakes are weird. And it also says if the group has played Death Crawls West, which is found in the Weird Frontiers role-playing book, it says the papers might have been among the belongings of Claude Bolette, given his New Orleans roots. So the bundle is tied together with an ordinary string, and many of the pages are weathered and stained. And then he talks about how if you like to do props and stuff like that, this would be a great opportunity right here, this little section here, to spice up their game. Drop a sheaf of aged papers containing all the information you want the party to have onto the table, then sit back and let them pore over the materials until they come to a consensus of what to do with it. So you'll kind of give them that kind of investigative start. I like this section here. It says, what the PC should not learn about the LaRue is that they are no longer human. They still occupy the ruins of Tall Shadows. Instead, allow them to learn of the LaRue supposed wealth lost to the bayou in the wake of the storm, and let them discover the truth of Tall Shadows for themselves. So make it very kind of progressive as they go and investigate this place. And of course, they're going to know that something's kind of up to it. So there's a great section here talking about Tall Shadows and the house as it is, describing it. Here's a piece of art here for you, more about the Rougarou, the plantation, and it also tells you a little cool note here that Tall Shadows is actually based on a real plantation that you can go online and see some more pictures of. I think that's very cool. They talk about here, should you step sideways and look into the spirit realm, you'll see that the plantation house is pretty much in the spirit world is in a perpetual hurricane of 1831. As it whips around the plantation, whipping up howling winds and ectoplasmic debris. And it says it is impossible to approach the building in the spirit world, and any attempts to do so threaten to sweep those in the near away. So that's not good. It will take you to the far, which you do not want to be in. So it's a cool little thing there just to see how it's kind of got two faces to it in our world and in the spirit world. So there's an event here. He talks about the slithering siblings. So you're going to have a family, this LaRue family, and you're going to have brothers and sisters, you're going to have mothers, fathers, grandmothers, stuff like that. And you are going to have many of them that are in certain locations in the plantation house. But you've got this one encounter here, Simon. He's a shapeshifter, and he's pretty much turned completely into a huge snake. And he will attack you. He usually has these two gators with him, and he is going to do a sneak attack at some point in the adventure. You're going to have to decide when that sneak attack is going to come. So Simon's going to be a nasty little surprise for somebody, but he's just, in real life, he's just in his real form, I guess, his natural form. He's just an 11-year-old boy, but he's also someone that can wreak havoc upon the adventurers later on should they succeed in this adventure, and he escapes. He can maybe, seek out some sort of justice for the family at some point. So then you're going to have a breakdown, of course, of going through the dungeon crawl that is this plantation, from the front porch to the drawing room. And this is where he's just written a great descriptive, sections here on how this place looks, what it smells like, all the weird, crazy, occultist type stuff that you may find in it. Here's a great piece of art here showing you this level here has got a bunch of water in it, about ankle-high water. It's all dilapidated, falling apart, and rotten. You're going to have a lot of gators. You're going to have some snakes and stuff like that. But you'll also have a couple other encounters that are of the more supernatural. So you've got the dining room. It's going to have rules in here for holding your breath. That's very good. Servants' quarters. That's where you're going to find some cottonmouths. The poison rules are, of course, could really wreck you, but there is cool rules for sucking out the poison. Then you're going to have another one of the LaRue. That's going to be Andre. Andre pretty much resembles a wolf-human hybrid standing 9 feet tall. Now, he's going to be in certain places. So it says, if the LaRue are aware of intruders, Andre LaRue is on alert in the room above. If he hears what sounds like someone attempting to climb or be lifted up to look through the hole in the ceiling, he grabs a box of his snakes and dumps them on top of anyone directly beneath the hole. So this is where what the characters do as they adventure through this plantation. The noise they make, the guns they shoot off, or whatever may be the case, is going to alert certain people of this family. And now, as a game master, as a judge running this, you need to be on top of where these people are, when you want them to spring out and attack, because they are tough foes. Obviously, each one of them, especially being Rougarou, or something else. The salon, interior stairs, cellar stairs, kitchen, and all this is going to do is have a lot of really cool stuff. It's going to have some some things that are occultish. It's just going to have some dilapidated stuff of a normal plantation house of this time period, that's suffering through this decay and rot. So it's just building up that atmosphere, that creepy atmosphere. So, I mean, this is a straight up, Weird Frontiers is a kind of a weird horror, Wild West adventure, role-playing game. And this is definitely an adventure that you could really, try to crank that up and give your players and their characters a hell of a good frightening. So here's the second floor here with the library. And then there's going to be some spell books. There's some hidden things here and there. A lot of the stuff they have is older, of course. You may find coins that are older, magical books or normal books that will be old, because this is generations of LaRue that have lived here and worship these terrible demons or unleash them upon the world. You're going to have Père and Mère LaRue's bedroom. So these two are also going to be hybrid, wolves, pretty much Rougarou hybrid forms. Mère LaRue is going to be a witch, and so she's got some spells to unleash on you too. She may not pull out and change into her hybrid form unless things start going south for her. She likes to destroy you with her spells, and one of her spells is really cool: Swarm of Crawdads. A crawling mass of tiny crawdads of an infernal origin appear at a point Mère LaRue can see within 200 feet. The swarm immediately attacks all targets in the area, and then here's their stats. I call crayfish crawdads, and so I like to see that that's written in here, because that's what I call them, is crawdads. You've got a balcony. There is a young man that was killed, a Cajun youth, was taken in the night and worked witchcraft over. His body, his entrails come out. They try to strangle and kill you. They've got like little, almost like snake's teeth on the entrails, and it's a very deadly encounter, as he's pretty much a undead trap ready to murder the adventurers. And so you've got Snakewater Bayou Cottonmouths once again. You've got Andre LaRue right here. So whenever should you encounter him in this other area, you've got his stats as well there, as you can see. So that's helpful too, because he may be in different areas. Now, the thing about Andre, it says he's the eldest LaRue child. He hates his father and yearns for the older man's demise. If the party somehow gets Andre to converse with them, he might go to any lengths to get them to murder his father so that he can take his place as the nominal leader of the LaRue family. Andre will promise much but deliver little. So there is some opportunity to do some talking to these people, maybe be able to pit them against each other, but of course they'll probably backstab you, try to eat your face, and that's not good for you, to not have a face that's not intact. So that there's somebody there that maybe it can be on your side to some degree. Celeste LaRue is very interesting. She is in essence kind of like a vampire almost. She knows witchcraft. She's dressed a little bit differently than the other people. She's not as disgusting looking kind of as they are. And she doesn't immediately start shooting. She actually, if you try to talk to her, because she looks somewhat normal, even though she's dressed in kind of an old clothing. If you try to talk to her with good manners and graces of a Creole lady and scion of the plantation, Celeste answers little about herself or tall shadows and its inhabitants, seeming to mishear inquiries into such matters or replying with questions of her own. So you can keep her talking for a while, but after a while, she's probably just going to be like, you know what, I'm going to probably kill you and eat you. So she will attack you, and she does summon up these blood serpents. Very cool, kind of pretty much serpents made from blood, animate splashes of blood capable of defending her. And so if it says if the party hasn't dealt with them, which is some potted plants, there is a cumulative 1 in 6 chance each minute that a living creature other than Celeste remains in this room, that the plants draw their tendrils up from the chimney and attack as described. So she has some powers over these tendrils. It's in one of the lower rooms. They're pretty much plant tendrils that try to murder you. So she's going to be a pretty nasty foe to fight there. And then the attic is where you're going to have a bunch of crazy stuff go on, obviously, in kind of our boss battle. The attic has got these screaming skulls, which is pretty neat. The LaRue family keeps the heads of their dead, burying their bodies to depositing them into the bayou as they are moved to. The purpose of this grim practice is to allow the living LaRue to benefit from the wisdom of their dead ancestors, almost all of whom are now interred in hell or another terrible dimension. So very cool thing just to see all these different heads in various states of decomposition. You may be able to try to talk to them or use them to some degree, but more than likely it's going to probably go bad for you with these skulls, or might give away your position, which is not going to be good. You're going to have Simon's bed. Of course, it's very much smells like a snake, and there's a bunch of his shed skin there. And then you've got the sanctum. Sometimes if Celeste is not encountered in her room, she may be there as she is pouring fresh blood from a pitcher into one of the bowls. Blood is a key ingredient in with Celeste, as well as her grandmother, who is pretty much our big boss of this place. So there's some neat things going on. Should you use some blood or keep some blood with you, it's going to help you against her grand-mère. And she is sitting alone in this rocking chair, 90-year-old woman, but she is very, very much not normal looking, as she's able to shed off, her body's almost kind of like gelatinous, and her arms can just like sever off, and then she'll immediately grow another one. She has this thing from beyond. It's her familiar. It looks kind of like a ungodly hybrid of jellyfish, fungus, and possum. Swirling colors swim through its translucent body, and it pulls itself across the floor by extending a glistening pseudopod that ends in a tiny hand. It has no visible eyes, ears, or mouth, yet emits a constant soft gibbering and can see clearly in the darkest night. So you're going to fight her. She is just a real nasty creature here. She's got 55 hit points. Her armor class is 15. She's got some good saves, and then she's got some witchcraft too to do, as well as her shedding her appendages, which will try to strangle you, and you definitely do not want to be strangled. That's detrimental to your life. And then, should you be able to take her down, you'll find the LaRue family vault. If you're able to open it, you will find a bunch of good stuff that will be able to pay off. If you go down low into the cellar, it's a water-filled space, appears to be located beneath the house, but due to the darkness of the water, it is impossible to determine its size and what it may contain. What it contains is Grand-Père LaRue, and he is pretty much, it kind of reminds me, is like, it says he doesn't need to breathe. He can hold a victim beneath the water indefinitely, and it describes him as kind of being a waterlogged corpse. His skin is wrinkled and ash gray, stained with liver spots. His hair is gone, and his lips are bloated like flattened leeches. His eyes are mostly irises, with just slivers of white showing at the edge. His nose is rotted away, giving his face a skull-like appearance. He dresses in the tattered remains of once fine French garments, which are now coated with swamp scum. So very, very nasty encounters there. There's the Rougarou bite affliction that may come to you, that may curse you with the curse of the Rougarou. And then here's a cool thing here at the end. In the adventure, of course, we've got this alligator here trying to attack them, and it says that you'll be given a point of luck as if you're able to destroy the LaRue. If there's any survivors behind, they may come back for the PCs at some later point, which I think is pretty cool. They may start hiring out outlaws and bounty hunters to bushwhack the PCs. And then they may start to be able to afford to hire disposable agents to use against the group. And then if they're able to overcome them, they may take a more direct and insidious hand. So that's really it. I think that there's a cool spell here at the end too called Lead Splitter. I think that it is a knockout adventure. It's fantastic. It just drips with atmosphere of Louisiana, the bayou, and you know that there is a saying down on the bayou, blah, and that's a stupid Simpsons joke. But yeah, there it is. Nest of Snakes, a level 3 adventure by Michael Curtis. If you like that kind of feel, of investigating an old Louisiana plantation full of monsters and terrible people, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, True Detective, that whole Louisiana kind of decay and rot, then this is the adventure for you. So there it is. I hope you've enjoyed it. Nest of Snakes, check it out. If you played this, let me know what you think about it. And stay tuned for the next videos. Got a lot more coming out for you. So many that I'm just absolutely swamped. So thank you so much for subscribing. Share this video if you can. Like it as well if you like it. Let me know what you think. And thanks a lot.